Hello Planning Mashers and welcome. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always know when I release new videos. Today we are talking about a technique called Dutch doors. This is when you kind of cut your journal pages to create more space and be able to add more information to your spreads. I know it sounds crazy and very scary, but believe me, it's not as scary as it sounds. And today I will show you 5 different ways you can use this technique in your bullet journal weekly spreads. So, get ready your supplies and your scissors, and let's dive in. For the first weekly spread, we will do the one that is kind of the easiest to make and the least damaging because you are not cutting anything next to the binding. This is pretty simple. You just cut a part of the middle spread and create kind of a flop and, well, use it for extra space. Here in my example, I decided to use it as extra space for my dailies. So basically I will have 2 daily boxes on the page. That way I have more space to write my daily to-do list and stuff like that. You might want to add something else there. It all depends on what is it you're looking to have in your weekly spread. Now, important thing here is to understand what are the things that you want to be always seeing, disregarding on which side the flop is. So for me, I always want to have an overview of the week, which is just some big events happening or any deadlines I have. And on the other side, I will be adding a weekly to-do list. The next Dutch door spread is the one I used before as well. And this one is for creating kind of a weekly spread with daily logs. So usually when you have daily spreads instead of weeklies, you have a lot of space to write whatever you might need in your dailies. And it is super useful for many occasions, but the thing that I hate the most about dailies is that I cannot have a weekly overview, which is very, very important for me because I plan each day based on whatever is happening in a week. But if you're using this Dutch door technique, you actually will be able to have your weekly overview and your daily spreads. As you can see here, I cut off the pages to create the flops, and each of them is for a daily spread. I don't usually need that much space, so my daily spreads are probably half the page. But again, if you need more space, you can just cut smaller parts. And on the top is the section which you can see at any time. And this is actually a weekly overview. Just like we did on the previous Dutch door spread, this is a place to write any deadlines and any events. So when you plan your day, you have your weekly overview and you know what's happening. Now, I know cutting that many pages that close to binding might seem scary, but don't worry because first of all, I found that it's physically kind of impossible to cut the paper so close to the binding that you ruin it. There's always still an extra millimeter sticking out and holding it all together. But for some extra security, you can use some transparent tape or just white tape, or you can even use some washi tape and make it a part of your decoration. Okay, the next spread is pretty similar to the previous one, but here our goal is not to create extra space for your daily logs, but create space for an extra piece of information you want to add to your weekly spread. Here is an example. I decided that this extra information is going to be a meal plan. Let's see you have a very detailed meal plan for each day and for 3 times a day, and it really occupies a lot of space, and you might not have that space in your daily boxes. But if you create these little Dutch door flops, you will be able to add your daily meal plan there, and it will be conveniently available to you on your weekly spread. Important thing to do when you create this kind of spreads is to be sure, first of all, you cut enough pages, you didn't cut too many, and second of all, you're not getting lost with the amount of daily boxes you need. Now, as you can see, I actually created 8 daily boxes instead of 7, and for my meal plan, I was planning to have a whole flop per day. But of course, I kind of ruined it because instead of the Sunday meal plan, I have now a daily box. So I divided the last flop into 2 for Saturday and Sunday, and this extra daily box will be my weekly to-do list. All these weekly setups are going to be pretty easy without any elaborate decorations. These are just to kind of explain to you the concept and different things you can do when using Dutch door technique in your weekly spreads. For materials, I'm using my Zebra Mud Liner brush pens and my Archer and Olive notebook, and of course everything will be linked in the description. The next spread is showing you how you can actually create tags in your bullet journal. Now, this is not going to be just one weekly, this is going to be 4 weeks. And it's a pretty easy way to orient between your weeks if you create these little tags. They really require the minimum effort, they're very easy to create, and they have absolutely no damage on your journal. It's just an easier way to navigate. And you can use them not just on your weekly spreads, but on any other pages as well. Let's say if you have a certain section of your journal just for collections, with using the tabs, you will be able to flip between the collections much faster. And the final way to use Dutch door in your weekly spreads is by using it as a decoration piece. You will see further on what I mean. For example, here you see that I create this floral pattern on the spread, and well, eventually I will cut it out and it will be just a flop, which is there simply for decoration. But of course, you can play around with it and you can make one part of the flop a decoration and you can write something else on the other side. Important tip about creating Dutch doors in your journal is to kind of balance it out. So if you want to try to use Dutch doors for quite some time, then you have to make sure that you don't cut the same part all the time, because then your journal will be quite unstable. For example, if you are creating these Dutch doors with big daily spreads, maybe one week you have the weekly overview on the top and the other week you have the weekly overview on the bottom. just to keep things more or less balanced. There are, of course, many other ways to use dash doors, and you don't have to use it in your weeklies. I see a lot of people are using it in their monthly spreads or on their collections. As a future log as well, it can provide you with some extra space if you want to fit your future log on one spread. So just play around with it, and as everything in bullet journaling, customize it to your own needs.